insane day. So I want to thank you guys for actually sticking it out. Obviously, things could have gotten very muddy very quickly, but uh, wanted to take the time out of today to essentially just go over my thoughts, what I plan to do now, and make sure that we are steering in the right direction now. So, real quick, just kind of wanted to go over everything that happened. Um, Obviously, last night, without any warning, foresight, not anything like that, I went to bed thinking that soul is soul, is what it is. Turned out that whites sold the group for an absurd amount of money, which I have to respect. Um, but left the group in Const's hands, and Const went ahead and made a decision, essentially, along with um, a couple of other officers in the dead of night, to appoint Kotatsu, of all people, to lead Soul. So I already know who the main advocates were. I'm not gonna go after them like they're terrible people, but it was definitely a slight towards me, and I think everybody knows that. But um, we got the good ending, thankfully. I think we got the good ending. Otherwise, things could have gone very, very bad very quickly, and I don't think any of us would be happy about it. So, I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy that we were able to make this work, get that ugly usurper out of here, and be able to finally get what we need to. So, now that we have the backstory out of the way, couple of things. I'm going to be reforming basically everything that I saw wrong with Soul, but in addition to that, we're also going to be heavily advantaged now because of the fact that we have Const essentially as a sponsor for the group. I think basically everybody knows that Soul's downfall has been development in one way or another, and we were getting kind of right on the same track that we needed to be, but we weren't quite there. Thankfully, Const and everybody else who was part of that acquisition has been great since we started actually talking about things. But needless to say, Soul is fully equipped at this point to expand how we want to, and I couldn't be more excited for it. But kind of going based off of that, there's going to be a lot of changes that you guys see. There's going to be some definite needed updates. So I know a lot of people had a couple of things that they wanted to look at. So mainly how we organize internal tournaments, how the militarum functions, and really just how do we incentivize people within our group to actually want to stay around and have a continual ability to play the game without it getting boring. Because I think we can all can agree that once we get into a rhythm where we're doing the same stuff day after day after day, it's not fun. And that's how we lose a lot of our active members. So really just going to try and find ways that we can, incentivize you guys to stay around. But really, what else? Like I said, I'm going to be reforming everything, so that means that I'm going to go over my entire command team and make sure that they're adequate as to how I see fit. I see a lot of you guys in the chat talking about chapters and everything. I do expect for them to return, whether or not that's in full capacity or if it's just in a smaller environment, kind of like a tournament. But they will be returning in one form or another. Another thing that I've been sifting through, I have a lot of people asking me what we're going to be doing in terms of ranks, in terms of what we're going to be, doing for return offers or anything like that. Depending on the amount of people that are actually interested, I will be allowing for some people to return back into our ranks. I think it's only right as we start to push into this new era, essentially. But You guys should see a couple of familiar faces returning. For those of you that are retired that want to return, feel free to send me a message and I'll get back to you. Just letting you guys know flat out, my messages are absolutely flooded right now. The support that I've gotten from so many of you has been amazing, but really at right now, my immediate priorities, just so that you all are aware, is internal stability. So making sure that all of you have a proper command team. Following up after that, making sure our development stays on track, which once again, I have to thank Const and Slime and everybody else for picking that mantle up. That was my biggest concern. Uh, and then past that, past development, really just how can we giving you guys as much opportunity as possible to enjoy the group. Um, but just to make a quick note, Ghost is not stepping into this group. Just thought I'd let you all know. I see it in the chat, but that's not happening. Sorry. There's a couple of people that after this whole event are going to be permanently blacklisted. I won't go into that, but yeah, I don't think that this is a scenario where we can have mercy on some people, but it's fine. Really, what else? Before I get into everybody asking questions in the chat, really just honestly, I appreciate all of you who sat it through. We had a little bit of a crazy moment there where I was nearing the point of actually in the activation point of making a rebellion of sorts against Kotatsu, but thankfully it never came to that. But what else? You guys have been great, honestly. I think that's really all that I have to brief on immediately, other than the fact that nothing is going to really change in the immediate future. You guys are not going to have your events change. We're thankfully unblacklisted from Surge now, so we're able to kind of pursue that avenue. I'm not entirely too sure on what the VAC bans are like, because I know that Bomb essentially used it as a leverage point that I had to be retired in order for VAC to be unbanned. So I mean, you could talk about like how much aurora that is for me. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, we're pretty much figuring out what we're doing right now. I'm going to spend the rest of the tonight basically just going over everything that I need to. You'll see an announcement in regards to my command team, which will either be reformed or new additions added into it to make sure that we're stable as possible. Yeah, not gonna lie, that was a total clown move from Vac, but is what it is. Okay, I'll go ahead and open up for questions in the chat. Just ping me. Please don't have it just be like full troll. I don't really need that right now. But yeah, feel free. The Blue Man, respectfully, I am not letting you speak. I am so sorry.
Wise move.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. Stop requesting to speak. It's dude, it's a glitch in the chat. Okay, going down the list. Any possibility of war? Always a possibility. Will we go to war with Vac? Always a possibility. Is it a likely possibility? Probably not. Drain Tick, announce my return as Primarch now. I have absolutely no comment on that, Drain Tick. Let's see. Dream says, what's the development timeframe looking like? So to give you guys a little bit of context real quick, we're going through a little bit of a bump right now in terms of having all of our development be up to date, mainly because when the transition happened, Tom kind of went off the deep end. So thankfully, like I said, Const and Slime Side have been great about figuring out what we're gonna do. But honestly, I can see I'll have to kind of give a brief update in terms of what that timeline looks like. I don't want to just flat out lie to you guys, but you should expect for it to basically remain on track to what we had, which was to release in the near future, within the month. Let's see. When are events fully resuming? Tomorrow. They will be fully resuming tomorrow. what is happening with Alethros now that Fleethawk is gone. So Fleethawk has agreed to finish the Bastion of Alethros. That was part of his departure, is he said that he would be keeping the Bastion of Alethros within his foresight until the remainder of it being completed, and after that he will be completely done with the game. Let's see. When will my contrast be done for the 1,000 years? So long story short, everything with the Militarm we're going to be looking over to make sure that it's actually up to date and accurate. So if there's any pending requests for things, we'll make sure to get to it. Are you indefinitely replacing whites? Yes. Let's see. Who will be the next War Master? No clue. I don't plan on having a War Master anytime in the immediate future, just for stability purposes. I don't want somebody else conflicting with my directives. So, will bans be removed now that whites is gone? So Red Axe, 25 Thieves, and Guardy Pass. So not those three specifically, but I am going to be looking over bans just to see if that is feasible. What are your plans with the Militarm Training Center? I don't really have anything immediate. I do know that the Militarm is basically at the forefront for what I want to do, as far as like keeping my focus on it, because the Militarm is extremely important to how this group functions. But I'll have to kind of provide that in an update whenever I get closer. 1 second. Okay. What happens to the current Scala class? Again, that's kind of something that is out of my immediate scope. I'll try and go over it tonight. Was VAC map ban reinstated? I have absolutely no clue, honestly. No clue. So, what kind of reforms are coming to Helios? Basically, just optimizing it to try and be as best as possible for you guys so that it's not just a filler academy. I've already kind of provided those directives to Big Ma prior, but we're pretty confident that it's going to be useful for those reforms. What about a war with Surge? Maybe do small and help line up agreements. So I will say that external relations are going to be a lot easier now that we have a little bit of a common ground. It'll be a lot easier to facilitate things without needing to go into the standoff agreement sort of thing. Let's see. I've already answered what happened with Scala. Yeah, basically everything with Scala. What else? Will it be much harder to climb ranks / graduate through the Militarm? I wouldn't say it's much harder. It's just going to be much more rewarding. I think we need to have a filter that accurately filters, as it says, accurately filters people into the main group without it being a cannon fodder situation. I think there's a lot of people who could be doing a lot better in terms of, how do we properly vet people before they're, listed as an Astarte. That's supposed to be a very high honor. So I don't want it to just be a continual issue. But that a lot of that comes in the terms of development and, what we can use in the immediate future. So I wouldn't say harder. It's just going to be more rewarding. Do I need to prepare for an overhaul of the SCS? Potentially. We'll see. Zephin sent me a message. Okay. Will Militarm requirements stay the same, or will be some changes with progression? Changes with progression. Is it worth making a long-term investment in this group since you don't technically have full ownership of the group? So, in my opinion, regardless, when it comes to me, I'm staying. I'm not really concerned with the concept of like somebody being above me, even if I'm leading. I mean, that's basically the scenario that it was with VAC. And now I really have a lot more autonomy to where I can make something happen. So I'm more content now than I ever have been in any other group. I'll just say that. And that was throughout my 5 years in VAC and everything like that. Or not 5 years. I was like 7 years. God, Jesus. As for everybody else, it doesn't really affect you that much, if I'm being honest. Until you get up to the point to where you're where I am, it doesn't really affect you. Const is pretty hands off from what I've seen. Whenever he does interfere, it normally has a reason behind it. Obviously, him and I have had our disagreements in the past, but I'm looking forward to actually having those conversations and being able to lead the group with my directives. And if he has something to say about it, then he's more than welcome to. But kind of piggybacking off that, I don't know if the group will be handed down to me in the near future. it's not really my concern. My concern is making sure that the community's alive, making sure that you guys have events to go to. You guys really shouldn't worry about my succession. That's my battle, not yours. As the promotion bot seems to be non-functional, how will progress and promotions work out going forward? So do not worry about it being non-functional right now. That's all I'm going to say. Don't worry about it right now. Okay, give it 24, 48 hours at most, and we'll be fine. Let's see. This is about Mechanicus. I'll add you back. Don't worry about that. Surf said, "Hand me the legate contract." Yikes. Without Tom Spell, are we considering new automation for event logging, or is this already being resolved? Already being resolved. Will the group be more transparent about what's going on behind the curtains? I feel like it's been a long-standing issue. Absolutely. So my big thing when I was in VAC is complete, total transparency where I can. But it is what it is. I'm gonna try and make sure that you guys are updated on at least a monthly basis in terms of like what I'm doing, where the group is going. But sometimes we hit roadblocks. Shit happens. So you have my commitment that I'm going to be trying my best to be as transparent as possible. But ultimately, I just don't want you guys to be disappointed if for some reason we go into the dark for a little bit, because there's almost always a reason behind that, especially with me. So as shitty as it sounds, sometimes you just got to trust the process. Let's see. What about the current ongoing students that were doing tasks? Are we essentially waiting for another system? No. So you will continue to do your requirements within Helios. So you don't have to worry about that. It'll be kind of a phased transition to where your requirements are still going towards something, but obviously we need to look into it a little bit more. From what I've been reading through some accounts, the VAC ban is being removed as planned, but is subject to change once Vactus wakes up from his 11th nap of the day. Nice. I already talked a little bit about development, so we don't have to worry about that. Sorry, responding to a message. One moment. Sorry. Will we memorialize Whites and Fleethawk? Yep. I will make sure that they are ingrained in the history of this group one way or another, because they did so much for me. They put so much trust in me at times when I frankly didn't deserve it for whenever I didn't put as much effort into this group. They've done so much for me. They've done so much for everybody else, and I think they most definitely deserve to be memorialized in one way or another.
So wouldn't be sold without them, in short.
Yep. And how long of a time frame are we expecting to have fully replaced the individuals that left and retired? I can have it done by the end of tonight, realistically. So be on the lookout for that. Devlin, you're funny. Any comment on the rumors that Whites was on a jet to Tahiti while you were asleep? He might as well have been, bro. He might as well have been. That guy was on the first flight out. What happened to those random developers that were invited and then kicked from the Discord? Those dudes, I do not claim them. I do not claim them. Those are not our.
Invited them from Team Y.
Yeah, those are not our dudes. So I'm sure they're great people, but respectfully, I do not want them. So they can hit the road. See ya. Are you prepared for the latest Doc's Fairs on Port Masquerades once we are unbanned? Indeed, Surf. Indeed. Can we get a recap announcement? Absolutely. Yep, I will go over everything in there. Since everything is getting revamped, will we do things as they have been done till the changes are in effect? Yep. Are we bringing Surge devs over to work for us, or are we going to see a lot of joint things with Surge, or no? So, in short, yes. We are going to have a lot of intermingling when it comes to development resources. That's mainly because of constant influence. In terms of events, obviously we want to kind of keep that flame that we had going on, and I fully expect for that to not really change. But yeah, there's stuff planned for that for sure. How do you plan to hostilities? I kind of talked about that. I already talked about that already. I mean, hostilities are hostilities. I mean, just because somebody owns the group doesn't necessarily mean that there's, something that feud is gone. I think that a lot of people still don't like Surge, and that's fair. That's justified. I've not ever really been the biggest fan of Surge either, but that doesn't necessarily have to translate into who owns the group right now. I kind of just see Const as like that facilitator, and I think that's more than fair for the community that we're building. For the people above Trooper, are our requirements going to get carried over to the new progression that is being planned by the Commissars? Events are currently a bit hard to get, so redoing them would be frustrating for many. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that like I want to have carry over, but like I said, it's going to get a little bit. It's going to be more rewarding for you guys to complete more requirements. But yeah, it's going to be carried over. It's just not like you're hung out to dry. Wow. Any ceremony? I don't really plan on anything right now. Are we still attending the Surge Raid Challenge? Ironically enough, I haven't really talked about that with Const. So I'd like to say yes. Const, go ahead.
Yep, don't worry. Yeah, you guys are covered.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
We're about to go 3 for 3, just letting you guys know. So
Word.
expect to see some Surge DTs in the coming days, and let's get on the grind.
Okay. What else? Would you take? Okay. The Blue One asked me, would I take the bag as well if I was in White's shoes? Look, bro,
Real question.
Yes. Yes.
I'll
Yeah,
close my ears. I'll close my ears. Hold on.
like the reality. If I was offered 10K, if I owned the group and somebody came in, I mean, 10K is, dude, like y'all have to admit that's crazy for a Roblox group, for a Roblox clanning group. That's crazy. Y'all have to recognize that. Like I can't even be mad. But yeah, I'll just kind of skip over that question. I said what I said. Silly Taz, like I said, I'll reach back out to you once I get a little bit more footing on what I'm doing. When will I have my coronation ceremony? Dude, I'm not trying to be like that. Honestly, I'm here for y'all. I'm here for the community. I'm not trying to.
That low-key be fire though. Like, when are we
Dude,
doing the coronation ceremony?
If we wanna do something like that, I would let my council do that on their own volition. I'm not self-centered like that, bro. I'm not gonna try and make a coronation ceremony for myself. But
We've got
yeah,
a beautiful ceremony place, XP.
I know. Is there going to be any information on progression as an officer to senior officer? Yep, I gotcha. Oh, just letting all y'all know, if I see any of you saying that Goofy Soul sold us chant, it's your head, bro. I'll see you in VACEP. I'm just saying. Do you think the historical account of most members in Soul believing Cons to be alleged doxter will be an issue? If so, how will you overcome it? So the reality is, Soul has always had an issue with its leadership having some sort of controversy around it. White's was no different to that. White's had his own fair share of controversy. The reality is, it's part of the game. It's part of how we operate. And it sucks that it becomes a standard. But everybody has their controversy. Everybody has their issues. I'm not one to discriminate. Ultimately, I'm here for the community. I'm not, if I didn't have some sort of faith in it, I wouldn't be here. So I hope that you guys can trust the concept that if I'm here, then it's for a justified reason. It's not just because I got offered, because I very easily could have just gone to another group. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, everybody has their own level of controversy, but it's important to don't get bogged up in the past. Just look towards the future. With warfare requirements for those not being elite who really get chosen, would there be a real way for like a rally to count as a third of a requirement or possibly an alternate pathway? Yeah, so we're gonna look into ways that we can do like specialized requirements based off people who aren't necessarily like extremely combat proficient, but it's not gonna be a primary route. You have to be a really competent administrator. So just keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I do understand the issue of people not necessarily being able to get their events in because of rallies and stuff. But hopefully, with raised activity, that'll change. Why is Slime Site hijacked every divisional group if Const is the one facilitating? Good question. Slime Site, come on, bro. I saw what you did. I saw you take
It's
that.
because I'm at my group limit.
Dude.
You can transfer it to you if you want.
Okay, there we go. So we got our answer. Has your bond between Deathwatch grown bigger in the last 24 hours? Dude, I can't even express how supportive Deathwatch has been to me in the last like under 24 hours. It's been nuts. The amount of trust that you guys put in me was insane. I hope I do right by you guys and I can continue to earn that loyalty, not only just from Deathwatch, but from everybody here. Yeah, it's really all to say. I definitely has grown more, for sure. Panstat, are you still benched? Panstat, when the sparring arena comes out, if you win at the sparring arena 300 times, you'll be unbenched, okay? I swear by it. I swear by it. King's Oath now. King's Oath. 300 wins at the sparring arena. All things considered, it already feels different since you took over. I can speak for everyone that we can't wait to see. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Okay. So, real quick, just to kind of wrap everything up, I'm gonna kind of send out a debrief to everybody. But long story short, like I said, first thing on my list is internal stability. So I'm gonna try and make sure that everything is as in shape as possible. While I'm doing that, I know that Const and Slime Site and Glory, all of them, are looking at our systems to make sure that everything is good to go, that we're not hindered within our development. And kind of going past that, like I said, there's a couple of things that we want to release. Obviously, all of our new maps, and then we're going to have, I do want our sparring arena come out, and then looking at the Militara, making like a new, making a new system for it. So that's where I'm at right now. Events will resume as usual for tomorrow. Let's see. I think that's really it. That's all I really got. Oh, last thing, new uniforms. I have nothing for new uniforms right now, but it's not off the table. So, like I said, kind of get my ducks in a row first. But yeah, there's going to be a couple of announcements that come out in the next day or so. Just keep an eye out for that. But other than that, all the other smaller questions, like you can just ping me at another time and it'll be fine. But yeah, I want this to be truly a new era for us, to where we can finally do what we need to and make this count. I'm really confident in everybody that I have around me, so I'm not too worried about what's gonna be the future for us, but really just stay engaged. We're gonna be giving you guys a whole bunch of new opportunities, give you guys a whole bunch of ability to be active with us and really grow yourselves. It's gonna be a good time. I think we're gonna have a really enjoyable time now. DeBlueman, I am explicitly airing you just because you keep pinging me. Just letting you know. Anyways, we are now good to go. You guys can just do a quick little soul guide us and you're good to go. Thank you guys so much for coming.